Hello, smart investors. So many persons have gotten their fingers burnt out there while trying to invest into real estate. It did not start today. It has started a very long time, and that is why we are here today. Welcome to Real Estate Clinic with GTS Holdings, where we take the confusion out of real estate, where we give you the necessary information on how to invest, protect your investment, and also to thrive. I'm your host for today, and my name is Blessing Chizarambina, and with me in the building is Mr. Michael Njoku.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Mr. Michael.
Thank you.
And viewers, guests, we're going to be discussing about an interesting topic about documentation and developmental fee. So, Mr. Michael, what is this documentation and developmental fee? Because I've heard people say, I don't know what is documentation, I don't know what is developmental fee. So I would like you to tell our viewers what this fee is all about.
Okay, thank you once more for having me.
You're welcome.
And I want to start with some brief, some little briefing on what developmental fee and documentation fee is all about. So firstly, documentation. Let me start with documentation. I'll be using some very, very local parlance that our viewers, if anybody can really understand. So you started primary school, right? After your primary school, they give you a certificate called First School Living Certificate, right?
Yes.
In your secondary school, they give you WAEC or NECO, right?
Yes.
In your university, they give you BSc.
Yeah.
When you now want to get a job, what do you bring? They say, go and bring your documents. Thank you. So that is what documentation is all about in education. Now let's bring it to real estate. Okay? So if you are buying any land in real estate, you need documents, and there are various kind of documents. Those documents coming together is what is called or known as documentation. Example of them is the survey, which covers to show this land is in this particular place and is registered with the government. So it's called a registered survey. This is one essential document, right? Then you have what is called the deed of assignment or deed of conveyance. This is what transfer the power of ownership from the seller to the buyer. Is a very, very important document, right? This makes up documentation. Okay, another will now be title document. Title document in the sense some land have what is called C of O, others have what is called governor's consent, others have what is called arrow of O, right?
Yeah.
I know we are not here for that today. Some other they will discuss all these various documents and how they imply, but this putting up all these documents together is what is called documentation, right? And to get these documents after you have purchased your land, it brings what we call real estate professionals together, industry professionals, right? You have your lawyer to put up the documentation, you have your surveyor to put up the survey and all this, and getting this done comes with a fee, right? The state government, you pay the state government. There's a statutory fee you pay to the state government, right? So to get these documents comes with a fee. That is what is called documentation. I believe my viewers would have understand what I'm saying. Then we now go to development, right? Yeah. So the difference between Banana Island and Ikorodu is development. Okay.
Yes.
Banana Island have good roads.
Yeah.
Banana Island is very accessible. Banana Island have good amenities. Ikorodu does not have.
Just like you mentioned about a good accessible road and water, yes. What other specific infrastructure amenities does this developmental fee cover?
Okay, so developmental fee is an umbrella fee that covers every activity going on in the estates before we get subscriber to come key in, right? Yeah. So these are activities like accessible road, like I've said before, perimeter fencing, right? A central gate, you have your drainage, you have your street lights, all these are development going in on that land, right? So
Yes.
to make this happen is with the developmental fee this is being done with.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this developmental fee? Can someone pay by installment or is outright?
Okay, I think this is a very beautiful question. So to answer this, this particular question points differently to different organization, right?
Okay.
So each organization have what is called their own working policy, right? How they operate is called SOP,
Yeah.
right? Standard of operation. So when you are buying, which is why I always tell my clients, I always tell my subscriber, ask questions, right? In the process of purchase, you need to ask this question.
And what are those questions? What are
And this question will be what you just asked now.
Okay.
You ask me to pay developmental fee. Can I pay in installments? They will now break it down. Some company will tell you, yes, you can pay in installments.
Yeah.
You can pay 60%, 40%. You can pay 30%, 40%, 30. It's just, they'll spread it. So it's on a company to company basis. There is no flat answer to this. Some company will tell you our developmental fee, you pay it in 100%. Some will tell you, okay, you can spread your payment.
Okay.
And the spreading of payment will now be what is being agreed on.
Okay.
Yes.
So how does this documentation and developmental fee impact property value?
Okay, beautiful. I like this question. So the difference between the property you bought from a real estate company and the one you buy from family is the development and the documentation that they will give you. What most family will give you, they will tell you this is a family land. Our grandfather gave us. But if you understand the Nigerian government, if you understand the Nigerian constitution,
Yeah.
it says all land belongs towards the government, right?
Yeah.
So any land anywhere in Nigeria belongs is a property of the government. So for you to lay claim to any land, you should have government certificates, which are what we now in term call documentation, which now goes to say either you have certificate of occupants, which is the CFO that is generally well known, or you have governor's consent, or you have gazette, and each and every of these documents, right?
Yeah.
So it is very, very important. It's very, very important. It gives credibility to your land, right? Then the developmental fee also help to put development in that land. Are you getting it?
Yes.
I'll give you a very typical example. The Bejuleki area, 2016, if I'm being correct, 2016, 2015, you couldn't believe what was happening there. Dangote sank nothing less than, I can't get the amount now, but he sank thousands of tons of sand in that place to get it to where it was. Today everybody wants to go to Ibejuleke, everybody wants to buy land in Ibejuleke. Why? Because one man decided to develop the area. He puts concrete road, you can go to Ibejuleke without traffic. So these are all what we call development, and for this to be done, we need money, and that is the money we now tag developmental fee.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Can this fee be adjusted or waived by certain circumstances?
Okay, beautiful. So some estates, right, some company, they normally come out with policies, like I said before, right? Because it's just what is right in Nigeria might not be necessarily right in Germany. I'll give you an example, because again, I like to make it plain so that you can relate to what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
A man can marry a man in Germany. If you try it here in Nigeria, you go 14 years. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So why did I bring this example? So some companies, companies would in their purchase of land, in the first phase, is what they call pre-launch, right? So in this pre-launch era, they can scrap or waive. That's the right word to use. They can waive documentation and developmental fee, right, for the pre-launch era. Are you getting it?
Yes.
When the land is now launched, they reintroduce it, right?
Yeah.
So again, they can be having a special occasion, and they'll say, okay, for those that are purchasing within this time frame, within this window, we are waiving developmental and documentation, which now brings me to you as the buyer. or you that want to subscribe, you need to ask this question: is this land on a waiver for documentation and development? Sometimes the company will even tell you the land is currently on waiver for development, not for documentation. Sometimes they will tell you is a waiver on documentation, not for development. So you need to ask these questions, right? And it varies from company to company. There is no right or wrong answer. You as a buyer, you need to be intelligent enough to ask this question before you make your payment, right? Because again, there is this very funny things buyer do, you know. After they have reached agreement, most of the time it is usually not written. They will come back to say we didn't know. But as a smart buyer, you won't say you didn't know. You need to holistically look at a contract before you put your pen to the paper, right? So this is very, very key. It's very key. Some company can waive, while some will tell you it must be paid. So that is the way it works.
So as an investor, when buying a property, documentation and developmental fee is necessary.
Yes, almost statutory. Very statutory. Yes.
Okay, which helps to bring developments, those infrastructure and amenities which are coming
to the land, and also give credibility, because those documents. With those documents, if you now want to resell, what do you present? It's those documents they gave you. That is what you use for the reselling value. It's just like you went to buy a car and the car does not have particulars and you are driving in the road. Lagos last man will collect that car from you. Hope you know. Yes. And it's also like you are driving a car and there is no roadworthiness for that car. Yes. Are you getting it? Or you are driving a car, there is no fuel. Fuel is like the elemental fee. The car will knock down. Right, so these are things that make your estate to be the way it is. I'll give you another very plain example so that you can bring it home to what we are saying. If you come to Banana Island, right, the estate called Banana Island is an estate. Hope you know.
Yes, I know.
If you come to the estate called Banana Island, do you know you can't access Banana Island if you are not invited by somebody?
Yes.
You will be asked for a code. Right?
Yes, you'll be asked.
Because they have a central gate where everybody pass through. These are the developments we are talking about. If that development is not in place, I'll just use any means to enter. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So basically that's it. That is what it is.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. And viewers, just as we've heard from Mr. Michael about documentation and developmental fee. So when you're being asked to pay documents and developmental fee, just like he explains, those fees are used to bring in those infrastructure and development to that estate. And the document is what you use to present in case of any future crisis or anything that happens. I said, okay, maybe somebody is coming to claim your land and you have your proof of document. I bought this land directly from this company, and that is what will help you to get back your land. Just like we've heard from Mr. Michael about documentation and developmental fee, we would like you to share. We'd like you to send in your questions on the chat buttons and we'll get your questions answered. And don't forget to watch out for our next episode on Real Estate Clinic. Remember, real estate is a journey, and that is why we are here to guide you on every step so you won't make mistakes while trying to invest into real estate. We love you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.